The morning of our last camp. I've had some fog this morning, but it's turning out to be a very nice day.
I see a clue. There are feral animals in this area.
Winona's found a hole. Wonder if it's a wombat's hole.
Up the mountainside. Whose home could that be? Not what I was expecting to find. There are feathers in there.
There was a lot of moisture in the tent. Dripping on the outside, a lot of dew, and then on the inside from our breath as well. So we got to let it dry out. But I don't think it'll completely dry out by the time we have to get going, so we'll have to get the chamois onto it. And give it a good dry out. Maybe when we're in Mildura at Winona's dad's house, we can put it up to just try and give it an air out and dry out. And that's what happens when you come down south. The weather gets colder and you get this dew on your tent. And you need to try and keep it dry, otherwise mould sets in. We don't want that on our tent.
One thing I really do admire about our country is the different rock formations. You can see the different layers and the different fractures, all different directions that it's gone in. There's bits that are smooth and bits that are sharp. It contrasts. Bits that have seen a lot of water, bits that have seen tannins, and bits that hold life. One thing that comes from the fractures in the rocks are the array of different stones that you'll find. All different types of stone, all different colours, all earthy colours. These trees have had to establish themselves over and over again through floods, through droughts, through fires. All of these things, all of the different weathering helps the tree grow and helps it to grow new trees. Yesterday was a bit cold though, and dark by the time I had finished in the car. You can see termites and woodworms have done some work in here. Southerly fashion, there's rain.
I reckon it'll be pissing down at home. What do we want to go home for?
You tell me.
Well, it's just going to be raining all the time.
If you've liked our video, comment, like and subscribe. We want to know where should we go next? Where should our next travel be? We need to get away from this rain.
Is that the windscreen wipers on? They still work.
We've had a ball this trip. What was your favourite part, Zach?
Oh, the beautiful days in the Simpson Desert. Can't beat it. We did move a little bit quicker for Zach and Nona. We would have liked to just hang around in the one spot, wouldn't we?
I don't know. We don't tend to do that.
No.
We always plan to do that, and then we're off to the next spot.
Yeah, I know. Well, even when we left the group and we did our own thing, we hung around in spots for a bit longer.
Yeah. My favourite thing about this trip was seeing the beauty of the desert, the green flowers, which I will research the name of, and all the little footsteps of the little animals that live out there. I was really surprised by the amount of footsteps we saw. And the night footage we got, I'm excited to research that.
Yeah, the little marsupial. I reckon it might be what we saw on that information desk thing.
At Pernibor, on the sign.
Might be that, but that means they're quite a rare and endangered animal.
It'll be interesting, and if we have seen any rare animals on this trip, let us know down below if you're a conservationist and you'd like the details of that. I usually enter these sorts of things through iNaturalist, an app on my phone, but sometimes there are scientific studies that want direct data from general citizens. So if you know of any websites or any scientific studies, put them down below and I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah, there might even be some study groups out there that might like us to go to a certain place in Australia to research for a particular type of animal. I know we might not have the latest and greatest of equipment to find all the animals out there, but we do have a full drive that can get to places, and we do have quite telephoto lenses on our cameras, so we can keep a distance from these little creatures and still get good footage and data about them. That would be a really good trip somewhere to research a particular marsupial or something. Yeah. We actually came across a researcher on our travels.
Yes, a geologist called Nick.
A geologist called Nick, who was at the caravan park that we went national park called? Cape or something?
Copley.
Copley of the Flinders Ranges, or just north of the Flinders Ranges, is got a lot of questions out there regards to its land and what happened in history. And Nick's one of the many people that go out there and try and research.
One of the few people.
Well, there's a few groups. His group is a little bit smaller. It was about 4 people, him and 3 others or something, he said.
Yeah.
Some uni students and that.
People from all over the world visit the Flinders Ranges because the data on that area of country is so raw.
Well, there's still a lot of questions out there.
Untouched by a lot of people, and the time when that area was covered by seawater was quite recent.
Yes. Yeah, and there's something that Nick isn't researching, which is there's a particular type of mammal out there that they've found fossils of that they can't quite put into a category of animal that we've got. They don't know what they're developed to. They might have just come extinct. It's sort of like a land-dwelling animal that was soft, a bit like, and a round shape, a bit like a jellyfish, but lived on the land. So they're trying to research that. It's like a soft tissue, sort of, no bones. It's just sort of an animal that they've got questions of. The thing that Nick was researching, which is the land. There's certain periods of time where it was an ocean and certain periods of time when it wasn't, and they're trying to work out the land on which it's in the way it's formed. So a lot of the hills and that, they're trying to work out, was it natural corrosion of wind and that carved out all the gullies in the Flinders Ranges, or was it actual ancient rivers that carved them out? And obviously, if it's ancient rivers and things, they'll find more interesting fossils and things that could explain a lot of other things. But the hard part is trying to work out the time. If it was rivers, at what time period was it rivers, and at what time period was it an ocean? But that's what Nick's trying to work out, and obviously his findings will be very intriguing to other researchers that might be researching particular types of animals out there. His sort of information about the actual land will answer a lot of questions of other people. It's quite interesting talking to a geologist like Nick. He was definitely a bit of a David Attenborough type of guy. I liked him. He's pretty cool.
Yes.
And it's very important, us as tourists, is going out there to be mindful of the area and to keep it in immaculate condition for researchers like this, and also any other rare mammals or marsupials out there that are trying to survive. If we're going out there touring, I did pick up a few bits of rubbish and that and got rid of them. So make sure if you're out there camping and touring out there in anywhere in Australia, make sure you leave it better than what you found it. And then you also have the rangers of the area, the national park, just shutting it down. They'll just be like, nah, people aren't allowed in there because they're wrecking it for this area that's got a particular type of animal or plant or something that's becoming extinct, and humans are wrecking it for everyone else, so they just close it down, which will be very sad. I know I sound like a bit of a greenie right now, but it is important. It's the way that we can keep it all prestige for the future. I'm only sort of young, and so is Winona, and we want to tour for many, many years, and it'll be sad if when we get to our older years and we can't tour anymore because places have been locked up and shut down because of people, not being respectful. Kangaroos ahead. Oh yes, I hope this caravan sees them.
They're going to hop in front of us.
Yes, they are. We're in Redmark for lunch.
With the water birds.
What's cooking, Nones?
Carbonara.
Carbonara for lunch. Fancy.
So we're sitting here making lunch, and And this little crested pigeon has decided to... This is where it wants to curl up to sleep. We've had people walk past, lots of people walk past, about 3 different groups, and this pigeon has not moved. Every now and then it gives us a whoop, but there is where it wants to be.
Carbonara at the park. Looks good, Nines.